With great looks, innovation, function, and a very sweet price point, this specific fountain pen is gearing up to be a very interesting and solid choice for us all. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host from Pen Venture. Welcome to a new fountain pen review, and I'm super happy to have you all back for another interesting fountain pen, the Gravitas Carbon Piston Black. A interesting choice which recently got launched. I could not wait to do a video on this specific fountain pen and to dive into every single detail of it with you all. As usual with the Pen Venture YouTube channel, we're going to take a closer look at the customer experience, then we're going to dive into the details of it, side-by-side size comparison, writing sample, and in the end I'm going to conclude with my personal opinions and observations regarding this fountain pen. I hope that those observations are going to be the key points in helping you decide if this is something for you or not, and also it's going to help the manufacturer improve this model, because I don't think we've seen everything from this specific model and fountain pen just yet. The Piston Carbon Black. Very peculiar name to say so, but it's simple. It's a piston filling mechanism. It's made out of carbon, and black, I believe it's referring to the blacked out trims of the fountain pen. The Piston Carbon Black marks the passing of Gravitas into a filling system which has not been yet explored by the company on their models, which is the piston. The piston filling mechanism, it's not something new and innovating. That's not the innovation part of the fountain pen. Well, if you consider that this piston was designed and made by band to his specs, that could be counted as innovation. And it's a filling system which has been used many years, and it's a well known and regarded filling system for a pen. You can use such a pen without a cartridge ink. Very simple, telescopic, piston at the end, corkscrew, and it's going to move up and down, drawing ink inside the fountain pen. I'm going to show you a demonstration in just a few moments. It's coming along in this specific box, which is the Gravitas generic box. I believe it's used also for the Gravitas VAC. It's easy to understand that when it comes to Gravitas, the packing, it's not the focal point of the company, but there is two solutions in work at this moment in order to generate something interesting as a packing option. So there is more to see from the company in the next months in regards of the packing and the whole standard of everything. So let's open up, push this like so, and we have this message right here. We help put your thoughts on paper through the use of innovative design and technology. This is the fountain pen, a gorgeous blacked out piston carbon, which it's one of my favorites lately. For reference, I'm gonna use my personal fountain pen as a demonstration, but I'm gonna glance in between this one and another one with a different nib size, and also some props right here on the desk. By the end of this video, you will understand the beauty of this fountain pen, the innovation behind, the price point, the materials, the choices for specific key features which makes this fountain pen very interesting. As a style, we can very easily spot that this fountain pen is based on the Sentry model from Gravitas, and I have one right here, the Ultim version. The Piston Carbon is a oversized version of the Sentry. Cap shape, it's very similar. The same goes with the body of the fountain pen is taken from the Sentry, and it's adapted to welcome a piston filling mechanism, because that takes a little bit of space, so you need to design differently the fountain pen in order to allow such a system to work inside it. The shape and the style screams Gravitas. It's that Bauhaus minimalistic design combined with a dash of brutalism, because it's a key rustic look of the exposed carbon, which is the pultruded carbon fiber. The fibers are aligned into a line, so you see the structure and the texture of the material just like a wood grain. And band has its own way to just take these two styles and to meet them together with some innovation and to put them in a functional writing instrument like no other. This material and the overall looks and feel of the fountain pen, I see it being a little bit more masculine, and it is beefy, girthy, and it's a joy as a weight to carry and to use. I believe it's time to dive into a little bit of the details and what makes this fountain pen so interesting. Both the cap finial and end finial are shaped similarly. We have a limited edition number engraved on the lip of it, and it is 000, my personal fountain pen, out of 500. So this is a limited edition of only 500 pieces in this current format. Blacked out piston carbon. I believe there is more to see from Gravitas in the next versions. It's not going to be limited that this is the only pieces that we will have with the piston in this material. I believe there is a lot of room where to build on this model platform. I believe, passed over 200 plus units which are already sold, so around half of a collection it's still available. And we have this cap which starts to pick up and go from this point all the way up to this point. As we're going to play with this fountain pen in some light, you're going to see that the light catches the texture of this material, which is unbelievable. It is rustic at looks, it is textured, it feels like wood. It's warm to the touch, although it's carbon. This is not treated, not lacquered. It is not finished to a mirror buff or something. In some areas it's more white, in some areas it's more black. With the hand oils and the use of this fountain pen, it's going to become much more darker and shinier. Alongside my pocket in the pultruded carbon fiber, which I have it for more time, and it became a little bit more shiny, a little bit more dark. Carrying this fountain pen, it will develop that very nice charcoal satin like color even more. Right here we have engraved the Gravitas logo, and the cap is finishing off in this step down, so there is no subdued passing in between the barrel and the cap. It's a step down, and right here the fountain pen has something like 15 millimeters, so it's a 2 millimeter step down. Now let's uncap the fountain pen, and we have 1.5 turns of the cap to uncap the fountain pen. The interior of the cap has that Delrin sleeve, and the threads are super smooth. The threads are ACME, which is the blunt tip thread profile, which helps a lot in regards of the way you feel those threads and how they hook on when you try to cap the fountain pen, but we're gonna get that in just a few moments. Now let's not miss out a very interesting feature, the nib. And the nib on this one, it's the glorious size 8 steel Gravitas nib, a new option from Gravitas. And turning it like so, we can observe that it is powered by a black Nico ebonite feeder streamline, which hugs the nib, and the flow of it, it's insane. PVD coated laser engraving with the Gravitas logo, and the nib size medium. These nibs are available in medium and fine at this moment, but there is a extra fine on the way. Sometime in the next weeks, months, it's going to be available. This is a nib which is developed by Gravitas. Don't forget that Gravitas, it's providing also for the fountain pen industry, so you might just see something looking very similar to this in other pen companies, in other models, just like how you would see a nib from Yovo or from Bock showing up into a fountain pen which is having a different brand name. So this is the same with Gravitas just as well. When you take into consideration the cost of an 14 karat gold nib, you're gonna have to understand that the steel nib, it's way more affordable, and you will see that's reflected in the pricing of the fountain pen. This is a screw in nib unit, to say so, and you can take it out. This is the proper way to take a nib like this out. Place your finger under it like so, then you grip with your thumb, and then you twist the fountain pen in one way, and ideally you would twist the nib in the other way, and you are going to extract the nib unit itself. Right here we have a transparent gasket. Make sure you don't lose that one. And right here we have a gasket at the end which sits on top of the spout. I've tried in something like this to install an old, I believe, Coned nib unit. Don't be scared by this. It's a Leonardo triple stacked gold nib with a Leonardo ebonite feeder in red, which sits into a housing which came from my Coned. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a Bach nib unit, the one from the old Coned fountain pen. So if we're gonna try to install this one into Ben's fountain pen, I think it's working. But if you ask me, I believe it's gonna fit a Bach 380. Don't quote me on this. I'm not having so much experience with Bach nibs. That is something that could fit in the Piston Carbon altogether. Also, this specific housing and the ebonite feeder with some expertise and mod can help you put a different nib altogether in this nib unit, so you can take this off and put an 8 on top of the ebonite feeder, and with some heat setting it can work. You have to understand that this is something that I'm gonna risk saying because I don't want to advise anyone doing such operations that could damage and void your warranty. But if you know your way around fountain pans, you can check this in person and see how this is going to fit if you want to put a different nib in such a fountain pan. This is the shape of the section. It's hourglass shape, and right here we have the thinnest point. It's not in the middle, so the fountain pan has a more chunky feel when you grip on it. Then right here at the edge we have this chamfer, which I believe helps with the sealing of the nib inside the cap in that Delrin sleeve. Right here we have the ACME thread profile, which is unbelievably smooth. So you can grip the fountain pen even by those threads and still not feel a thing. So the ACME thread profile, it's something new from Gravitas, and it's migrating in all of the fountain pens. Most, if not all, the fountain pens that will be produced from this point will have this thread profile. The section is not actually cold to the touch. This is made out of titanium, blacked out like the entire trims of the fountain pen, and I believe this is a PVD treatment. I don't know if my camera picks it up, but this section is not having the same features just like the sections of previous Gravitas fountain pens, like the one that I have right here on this flagship. The section still has those very fine machine grooves. They are not that pronounced, so they are there, but you need to take a closer look and to see them. Right here we have an ink window, then the barrel of the fountain pen starts from the thickest point, 15 millimeters right here, tapers in and then finishes off in a ring. And just like the cap, the barrel, it's exhibiting this beautiful pattern of the pultruded carbon fiber. It is rough, it is rustic, it is untreated, uncoated, and it is a joy. We have the piston knob. This is made of titanium. Just like the section of the fountain pen, this has the same tactile feel and look. It is a very difficult to explain sensation because these trim elements like the section and the piston knob are not just like painted. There is not that glossy feel and look of the paint. This is raw metal, which is PVD coated, so it's a very thin layer of finish. Now let's check out the filling system, which is the piston of Gravitas, and I have here some props. This is a fountain pen which is missing this carbon right here, so you can see inside. How I got hold of this prop: it is from the testing batch. When we get such fountain pans, we take like 10 plus of them and we try to break them apart. Myself, Ben, we throw them, we just simply try to destroy them to the best of our ability and see where the fountain pen is going to break, and from that point we know the limits of that specific design. So this is what you find inside the fountain pen. You untwist and the piston comes all the way down. You're gonna see the piston right here in the ink window. Then as you draw ink inside, you will have a quite large ink capacity. It's going to be something like 1.8 milliliters of ink, if not almost 2 milliliters of ink. And also something that we can take from this prop, as you see right here, there is no way that ink will touch the carbon material itself. The ink is contained in this acrylic sleeve. The piston is gliding effortlessly inside there. Another key point that we can take from this prop is that we have 2 points where the piston head is going to touch the barrel, so it's a double seal. Then we can see right here that everything gets silver color, so it's made in aluminum, a system which is rather a little bit more lighter than something made out of brass, which was available in the first prototype series. And now I want to show you the balance point of this fountain pen, because I believe this is a great attribute of this fountain pen. Although being an oversized fountain pen, you can see that the balance point, I'm going to try to do this as to the best of my ability while I'm recording, it's in the middle of the barrel. So this is a very well balanced fountain pen. There is going to be a feel of just a solid grip on this fountain pen. The pen is not back weighted, it's not front weighted, although it's far better to have the most weight in the area of the nib itself. This is just in the middle, so I believe it's stunning. Now I believe it's time to put it side by side other models in order to showcase its true size proportions. Here we have a look next to fountain pens which I believe are similar: the Kukari, the Sentry, the Piston Carbon Black, the Leonardo Dodici, Sailor King of Pen, Connet King Size Bulk Filler. Uncapped, we can clearly see that the Piston Carbon Black takes the lead, is the tallest one of them all. Capped like this, the fountain pen measures 150 millimeters. Posted like this, it's going to measure 170 millimeters. Uncapped in writing position, it's going to have 140 millimeters. Capped like this, the total weight of the fountain pen is 35.7 grams, and uncapped in writing position like so, it's going to be 27 grams. Now the pricing. As I told you, this has a very sweet price point for everything that brings on like a material which is carbon fiber, titanium, in-house made piston filling mechanism, size 8 nib, ebonite feeder. So there is a lot going on with this fountain pen. Although it's a limited edition, it's only 350 euros, no VAT. If you ask me, this is a great value price point for what this fountain pen offers. This is not a sales speech, this is just my personal opinion, and I believe there is a lot of interesting things for other pen companies to check out when it comes to their pricing and what they offer for that specific pricing. Gravitas did a lot of interesting things for a sweet value point like this one, 350 euros, no VAT. Now it's time for the writing sample. Let's see that steel size 8 nib in action. I'm gonna use my inked up version, but it's very easy to ink up one of this fountain pen. You untwist and you see the piston moving down, then you submerge it in ink around this level right here, and as you screw in, ink gets from the feeder all the way up into the barrel itself. So we have this one right here, Gravitas Piston Carbon Black. We have the ink. This is diamine, jet black. We have the nib, size 8 steel, Gravitas. On my personal one, I have a medium. And let's check out the wetness. That ebonite feeder is going to do wonders in regards of the ink flow. It is not to a point where it's too wet, unusable. It's medium to wet. If I would be to put it on the scale, in 10 being a fire hose wet, 0 being a non-flow, it will be somewhere at 8.5, 8.9. Normal, figure of 8s. It is very close to what I would call a 6 in medium from Yovo steel. And just because we have the fine just as well, I'm going to dip it in some ink and show you the fine just as well. This is the fine in normal flex. So this medium opens up just a little bit, but it's very stiff. Ben said this in some of our videos in the fact that this nibs, the steel nibs, when they are PVD coated in black, I believe they become a little bit more stiff than something like this, which is available in silver. I don't have anything against that because this is a practical fountain pen that I can take with me everywhere, and I can get to use that stiffness of that nib. I don't want to have a steel flexible 8 nib with an ebonite feeder. This is plenty and enough for my needs. As feedback goes, this is what you can expect from this specific nib. It's rather smooth with a gentle feedback. Let's check out also the fine point just as well. I'm gonna dip it in a little bit of ink, a little bit more pronounced than a medium, but still pleasant. There is no specific toothiness to that nib. They are consistent writers. The ebonite feeder helps with the flow and everything, and they are something interesting. I'm very anxiously awaiting for that specific extra fine option. I would like to see it in person and to see how that behaves in my daily routine with the Piston Carbon Black altogether. So all in all, that's the writing experience. Let me know if you have any other questions. If you like my content, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. This will help me a lot with the algorithm and everything else. And now let's move into my personal reflections regarding this specific model and what do I want to see addressed in the future from Gravitas. In my opinion, the Piston Carbon Black, it's a perfect mix of innovation and style, and the two styles, Bauhaus, which is minimalistic and based on function, and the looks of the brutalism and everything. And I believe this is a perfect mix of those two, and in my opinion, it's a masculine fountain pen, or it has more of a masculine vibe fountain pen, which sets it apart from other fountain pens. We don't have a clip, and I don't see that as being a huge problem, but still, when you have a round fountain pen that can roll off your desk, that is something that you would want to have. There is no roll stop on this one, and I don't see Ben doing something about this. This is its own style and the way that he wants to portray his writing instruments, and I don't have anything against that. You have to take this into consideration. If you want to get one of these fountain pens, you need to be a little bit more careful to not have it roll off your desk. In regards of the material, I believe it's an amazing way to get this material, which usually when you see carbon fiber fountain pens, you would see them at a very high price point. When you have something from Gravitas, it's way more affordable. This is not going to be the type of a fountain pen due to its size to have like a 6 nib, and I believe it's a big thumbs up for Ben Walsh at Gravitas that he went and invested time and funds into developing a size 8 steel nib, which is affordable and makes this fountain pen have this very sweet price point. Piston, amazing. Filling system, very simple, very straightforward. The balance of this fountain pen, it's amazing. In the middle of the barrel, the use of materials makes this fountain pen feel very nice. The one thing that I would consider to be my nitpick regarding this one would be the way that the cap ends like this, and when you pose this fountain pen like this, you would see that the cap is going to be falling right here, and when you move it like this, it's going to catch on this part of your hand. It is not that subdued passing in between the barrel and the cap. This is a step down. It is a nitpick because of the fact that I don't use this fountain pen posted, but for all of you that you use your fountain pens posted, this may be something interesting to check out, and this is why I want to form a broad understanding and opinion and to showcase that opinion with you all. So you need to understand when you get one of these fountain pens what you need to expect, and to make that decision based on knowing everything that means how these fountain pens are going to behave once they are on your way and in your hands and in your daily routine. So this is why we take on these small little nitpicks and we bring them up to light. So maybe in the future we will see Ben trying a different approach in regards of the way that the cap is going to be ending and meeting up with the barrel. I believe for everything that this fountain pen presents to its user, I believe it's a great value. 350 euros, no VAT. amazing deal on this fountain pen. If you don't believe that, you will have to put it next to other fountain pens in the similar 350 euros range. I don't think you're gonna get something like this made out of true carbon fiber, not just like a look of a carbon fiber. You would not get it with a steel size 8 nib paired with an ebonite feeder with an in-house made piston filling mechanism, ink window. Then you will have to add the fact that this is a limited edition in this current scheme. You would have to put everything together and see what would be something that you would put next to this fountain pen to have it stand in the price range of the Piston Carbon Black and what it offers. Those are my reflections and my true honest opinion regarding this fountain pen. You can find this available at PenVenture and in the Gravitas retailing network and also on the Gravitas website, and you can welcome one in your collection at any moment. It is available. With that being said, let me know if you have any other questions or suggestions regarding this specific model or of Gravitas. I'm gonna do my best to answer all of your questions and suggestions in the comment section down below. If you want to support the growth of the PenVenture YouTube channel, don't forget to click there, turn the notification bell on and subscribe. And if you want to watch more of our content, I'm gonna leave you this right here. You can click and enjoy. As always, I'm your host from PenVenture. I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care, stay safe, bye bye.